Okay, so now we are going to start drawing actual buildings in Revit. So to do this, first we need to create a new project. I'm going to change this again to architectural as usual. Then I'm going to pick the default metric, right? So it's the same like we did before for massing. Just pick your default metric. That's okay. Okay, project is selected. I'm going to click OK. So now this is my project browser. As you can see, it's my level 1, right? We've spoken about this before. So now I'm sure you already know what all of these uh, windows like do, right? Same for here. As we said, this would be properties panel. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to create a few levels, right? So, okay, let's before we start creating levels, let me show you what are the tools around here. So if I pick a wall, right, like it says, it gives me a default wall. So now, before I place the wall, I can just click and click. So that's a wall, right? It's like a chain. So if I click, right, it will continue to make the walls, right? So now if I go to 3D, you can see the wall, right? So now if I pick one of this, you have these arrows where I can pull them, right? It will snap to the level, right? Snaps to 2. Good. So let's say I pick this one. Right now, as you can see, the location line is called a center line. So it's starting to draw the wall based on the center of the wall, right? The second one is called a base constraint. So where like the base is attached to. So right now it's attached to Revit default level 1. As you can see, this is level 1. Okay, let me rotate. Right. So this is called level 1, and this one, or this also, the base is attached to, as you can see, level 1. You cannot change the base the same as the top because it won't be a base anymore. It won't be creating any wall. So it will give you an error. So this next one is called a base offset, right? So let's say I have this wall, but I want it to go below this 0, right? So below this will be a negative number. So let's say I'm gonna do minus 500, right? And then I press enter. If you can see, now it moved 500 below. So now that's 500. Okay? So if I pick this wall again, right, base offset is this one. The base is attached. If you had a floor, you can attach it to a floor, right? So I don't have any floor for now. I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, base extension, same. We don't need this. Now top constraint, right? So if you can see this one, right now it's not attached to this level 2 anymore, right? It moved by 500. So now if I want to, let's say, offset this, right, by 450, right now it's an unconnected height. So now if I pick this, right, now you can see it's 4500. I cannot offset it because the top is not attached. The moment you attach the top to, let's say, this level, then you'll be able to offset it. Let me pick this one, right? If I attach the top constraint to level 2, now I am able to offset it, right? Now I can give it an offset 500. Now you can see the base keeps remaining attached to level 1. The top gets offset, right? So it's quite easy. Like, you just have to play around and figure it out. Okay, cross section we don't need to change. We leave it to vertical, right? So all of this, yeah, no need, right? So then you can have the length of the wall. This gives you, okay, the wall is 14 meters, the length. Gives you the surface area, the volume that it takes, right? All these are like, details or properties about the wall. So these are basically walls. So from here, if I pick the wall, I click on edit type, right? I have this properties. So from here, I can pick a list of wall that's present in my project already. These are existing walls, right? You can see the dimension. It says interior partition, block work. I have all these types of walls, right? But I want to create a custom wall. Okay, so to do a custom wall, I'm just gonna leave it on generic. I'm going to duplicate this. When I click duplicate, it gives me a name. So then I'm going to rename this to 150 which is a standard what is it, brick wall or concrete block wall. So I'm just gonna leave it to 150. I'm gonna press OK, right? So now from here I can change a lot of things, right? You can give it like properties like its thermal mass, all these things. We are not going to go into this. Okay, so here as you see, the material is not defined. It's defined by category and you cannot even change it. And then you have this wrapping at insert. So these are about how the wall, they wrap at where they start, they wrap at where they ends, right? Then you have the function. You can say, oh, if it's interior, exterior, you can give it all these details. So later when you have your QS, they can get all the details from the wall. But we won't be going into so much detail. These are like working level things. We just keep it simple, right? Because these are the basics. Okay, so we'll leave these two as they are default. And then for the structure, I'm just going to click on edit. From here, if you see the structure, I can give it a material, right? If I click on by category, I can change the material. So from here, let me give it, let's say, block work, maybe. Okay, concrete masonry unit, which is block work technically, is called CMU, concrete masonry unit. So usually foreground, you don't put a pattern because it will make your drawing look a bit weird. So I'm going to off the pattern none. Okay, background we don't want to change. We want to change the cut pattern, right? Okay, so I'm going to change this cut pattern. I'm going to change it to brickwork. So I'm going to pick this brickwork, press OK. I'm going to click apply. Okay. So now I've changed my material. Now I'm going to change the thickness. So if I click here, I can type the number I want, so 150. I'm going to press OK, right? So now I have this wall. Okay, so if we go back and press edit, right, I can add layers to this. Let's say I have the plaster, right? So I can insert, I can give a plaster, change the material, call it a plaster. But for now, we just leave it like this, one single, material, plain. So concrete masonry unit. So then I'm just gonna click OK. Okay. So now this wall, as you can see, has changed to the 150, right? And then this wall is the 200 wall. Good. Yeah. So we'll be using 150 almost everywhere, right? So for the 150, since we changed the type from 200 to 150, now if you go back to the wall, you can pick your wall from here, right? I'm going to pick 150. I can draw a wall, right? This is a 150 wall. I can attach the top to level 2, the base is level 1, right? So now I have this 150 wall. This is basically walls, right? So now if I press on this one, door, like the name says, right? Revit gives me, whatever family you have for door. So I have 915 by 2134. So now if I click the door, I can place the door on the wall. You cannot place it outside, you won't be able to. So only on the wall, I can just place the wall. I can do the same on plan. If I come to floor plan, I can place the wall, the door, right? So if I click on it, I can flip the door. I can flip it this side, that small arrow, you can flip it and play around with it. That's basically door. And then if you have other, type of doors, let's say sliding doors, aluminum doors, all these doors, we'll get into that, later. So okay, maybe we try to load the family. So let's say I want to change to a sliding door. I'm gonna load family. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go to English. Okay, the structural precause, that's not it. Okay, libraries. Let's check again. Okay, not this one, sorry. Okay, family templates, English. Okay, I don't seem to have the families. Okay, yeah, I don't seem to have the families installed. So you might have the families installed. So you just, take a look at it. Right, I only have a few. Right, which don't matter. Okay, okay. So for now, we just skip this part. Okay, if I go back to architecture, I can do the same for window. From here, I can pick all my windows. Right, let's say I'm gonna pick this one. Right, if I come on the wall, I can place it. If you go outside, you cannot because it's hosted by a wall. So you definitely need a wall to put a window. So let's say I'm gonna put this window here, right, and then click on it. I can flip it the same, right? You can flip it. So now let's say I wanted a custom size wall, right? So from here you can also change your head height. You can change the sill height, right? You can change the level you want the wall, the window to be, attached to. If you want the custom size, you can just click edit type. Same thing, edit type. You just duplicate it. You give it any name you want, right? Then you can change your dimensions from here, right? You can do all of this. Okay. So once you're happy with the wall, these are components, right? I think we've uh, gone into this a bit before. Now from here you have column, right? And then you have this drop down. So usually when we architects are drawing, we use architectural column. We don't use structural column, right? So we'll be using architectural. So every time you will need a column, you just click architectural, right? You have a default. If you don't have them, you can load them, right? Okay. So once you have all of your columns and everything, what you can do next is you can take a look at, your roof. Roof is basically the same as drawing a floor, right? So let's say I want to do a roof, right? I'm gonna pick footprint. It's gonna ask me, okay, you have the roof created in the lowest level. Would you like to move it to level 2? Okay, so Revit knows that, okay, the roof is too low because I'm actually drawing on level 1 here, where, it doesn't make sense to have a roof. So Revit is asking me if I want to move it. If I do, I'll just, press yes. If I don't, I'm just gonna no. So okay, I'm gonna follow what Revit says. I'm gonna click yes. So now if you can see the base level, it's starting to draw at 2. Even if we are in level 1, but we've already told Revit, okay, we want it to draw at level 2. So now if you pick the drawing tools, right, you can draw the tools, draw the roof, right, same like we did for massing, right, you can just draw all around. Okay, now if you see, these are indicating that there's a slope. You can change the slope angle from here, you can change the slope angle from here, right? You can delete all of this. You can pick lines like we did in massing. Pick lines, pick, pick, then I click finish. Okay, now it's asking me if I want to attach these 1, 2, 3 walls to the roof. This one was already, remember we had set it at level 2, so this one is fine. It's only asking me about these because they don't seem to be attached, right? So if I click attach, it will raise the walls, right? For now, I'm just gonna close this. I'm gonna cancel the roof, right? So you can see these walls, they are not attached to the roof, right? I change this to shaded, right? So now you can see these walls are, above the roof, except for this one, we had set it to level 2. right? Okay, this one. This one, remember we put the offset, minus 500 and everything, it's fine. So now you can see this wall is going through the roof. So we don't want all of this to happen. So what I can do is I can pick the wall. I can, give it remove that offset we had given it. So I can change it to 0. Now it's fine, right? So if I pick this one, I can do something else called attach. So I'm going to attach it to the top. So if I click this and then I pick the roof, it will attach it. But later, usually when you attach roofs, it causes issues, right? Let's say there's something that moved or you want to move something, it's going to tell you that, oh, it's attached. So I prefer not to use, attach top to base. So this is what it does, right? And then let's say if you have, you have attached it previously, like we did just now, I'm going to redo. So now I have it attached. You can see now that arrow is gone, right? Okay, let me detach it to show you. Detach. Okay, now you can see this wall, it has that arrow. You have more control over it, right? So that's why I don't like to attach, these walls to the roofs. So here again the same. If I click the wall, I have this arrow that can go up. I can put it down, play around with it. But if I do attach it to the roof, right, that arrow is gone. So to have it again, I need to detach it. Pick this, it detaches. Okay. So basically these are most of the tools. Okay, what flat roof, we can just go edit footprint. I can select all of this. I can uncheck define slopes, right? Uncheck this. Now none of these lines are defining slopes. So if I press finish, it's going to be a flat roof. Again, it's going to ask me if I want to attach. I'm not going to attach, right? So I have this, right? Let's say you want a slanted roof. You can edit footprint. You can pick one, right? Then I can give it define slope. I press done. Don't attach, right? It's going to slant the roof. So if I again edit footprint, okay, this is defining the slope. Let's say I want this and this maybe, right? Okay, this one, I'm going to select it, define slope. Okay, don't attach, right? It's going to create something a bit crazy because two lines are defining the slopes. So three lines will just make it incline again, right? So I'm just going to undo all of this till I have my flat roof. Okay, so these are all these things. Okay, now we have something called ceiling. This is usually like a false ceiling. Let's say you have a false ceiling in the house, right? Let me show you. I'm going to cut this. Right, I'm going to cut this. Right, okay. So now this is my roof. I want the false ceiling here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on ceiling plans, right? So ceiling plans, I'm going to go at level 2. I'm going to go ceiling. Again, I can draw it, but I cannot see anything. So I just go to level 1. Now I can see everything in ceiling plans. Okay, go back to picking ceiling. Okay, this one. Ceiling, right? So automatic ceiling. So Revit will, draw the ceiling based on, what it thinks is a enclosed space, like a room. So if you see I mouse over, it detects, okay, these are the wall edges. So it wants to do automatic ceiling, right? I can do that. I can do pick ceiling, like pick lines. I can draw it manually, right? It all depends on, how you want it. So if I go against ceiling, automatic, let me pick this. Press space, okay. So now if I go to 3D, you can see Revit drew the false ceiling here, right? So here you can give it the offset that you want, right? Let's say you want maybe 3750, right? You can move your false ceiling, then all your services can go under here. That's for false ceiling. Then floor is basically a floor, right? You can do structural by face, all these things. We are just going to use simple one, architectural. I'm going to pick this one. Then if I go back to my level 1, right, I can pick lines, right? I'm going to pick the lines. Right, pick all the lines. Press done. If I go to 3D, now you can see I have a floor. right? So now my flow starts at level 1. Okay, so level 1 is here, and now basically if I want to join this to this, I can pick this. I can attach top or base. I can click this, pick this. It's gonna tell me, okay, they are not like overlapping, right? And then it's telling me, okay, they are attached but they miss because they don't cross anywhere. So I can cancel, then maybe make the flow bigger, right? So if I edit boundary, I'm going to align A L. I'm gonna pick this, finish. Now you can see they are connected, right? So that's basically it, right? If you want a curtain system, right, you can create a curtain system like the name says, but it's usually based on a massing, right? So if I create a massing and then I pick the curtain system, so it's gonna create based on a mass, right? If you mouse over, it tells you the thing. Curtain grid is like for creating the curtain grid. So let's say if I have a glazing, I can draw the grid manually, right? You can see what it does. So I'll leave you guys to explore the tools. They are quite easy. We won't be using most of them because we are just going to learn the basics of how to draw basic house. Okay, so mullion will adjust the mullion. Mullion is the joint between the windows, so you can place the joints, right? Railing again says what it does. If you want to place on stair or you want to draw just a railing, right? If I pick railing, you can see here it gives me a default railing. Okay, so that's the default railing. So I can pick which type of railing I want. Let's say I'm gonna leave it at this one first. Then I can just draw a line, right? Let's say from this corner to maybe this one. Then I click finish. Right, it will give me this railing. I can select it. I could change, let's say close panel, right? So you have something like this. Yeah, so basically that's most of the tools, right? You got the ramp, stair, most of the things. Yeah, and then you got like this one to poke a hole into the roof. This one is shaft opening for what you have like lifts. This one cuts a hole through a wall. This one you have vertical opening, again is a bit like by face, right? This one cuts a opening into the roof like a dormer roof if you want, right? Set work plane you're familiar with, show work plane, right? Basically that's it. So now the next one is I'm gonna delete everything, right? Delete everything, and then I'm gonna start a new project. I'll see you in the new project. So we'll make our new project. So new. Here we will change to architectural template. If you don't have the same interface here, and then you have architectural metric, imperial, all these things, you pick architectural metric. Okay, architectural metric. For the others who their interface look like this one, we will pick architectural template, browse. Here we will pick default metric, and we will leave it at project. Press OK. Once your project open, you might want to give it a save first. So file, save as, your name, surname, student ID, assignment 2, so A2, task 1 is T1. Okay, so you give it a save first before we start working. Okay, first thing we want to do is we want to set our levels. So to do that, you go to any of the elevations. I'll just go to east elevation first. In here you can see there's level 1 and level 2. These are the two default Revit levels. So we're gonna start renaming them. So for this one, you click on where it's written level 1. If you click on it one time and a second time, you can type in ground level and then press enter. When you press enter, it's gonna ask you if you want to rename the corresponding views. Okay, so for this one you always pick yes. Okay, always pick yes, because if you pick no, what happens is it changes the level on your elevations or sections, but then in your project on your floor plans it doesn't change, so it will rename as level 1. So sometimes when you're working on a big project it will get confusing, because let's say on your elevation or section that you have something called FFL 10, and then on your project here it doesn't match, so it's going to be confusing. So when it asks you to rename, you always pick yes. So now it's renamed to this, and then you can see on your floor plan it has renamed as well. Okay, minimize your ceiling plans because sometimes you might accidentally open it and then you'll be confused. So just minimize this. Now we have our ground level. We're gonna do the next one. So this one will be FFL. So click on the level 2, type FFL, which is finish floor level, and then we're gonna press enter. Yes, we want to rename. Okay, so this one is 450. Enter. It's gonna move to below, and they will overlap. So to adjust them, you pick the ground level, the one at the bottom. You find the elbow. Okay, so there's a small thing here. You just click on the elbow, and then you can drag the dot to the left and a bit below. So you'll have something like this. Okay, now you want to create 2 more levels, one for FFL1, which is finish floor level 1, and then you want to have the roof. Okay, so for FFL1, the shortcut is to create the level is LL, or you can pick the level here. Okay, so try to make it same as the others. So you just draw it randomly at first. Okay, and then make the second one. Okay, the dimension, the distance between them doesn't matter. We can always adjust them as we go. So let's rename the level 3 to FFL1. Press enter. Yes, and then this one will become roof. Okay, always press yes. So you can see here now we have ground level, FFL, FFL1, and roof, and site. Okay, we're not going to do the site, so we'll just work on these. Okay, now we want to adjust the distance between them. So if you pick the first one, you can see Revit gives you a temporary dimension. Okay, you can make them permanent by clicking on this. It will become a permanent dimension. Okay, you can do the same for the others, but I don't suggest doing that because they won't be attached. They will be separated from each other. Okay, let me show you. So if I make for this one and then I make this one, right? So we have these, but they are not, connected. So you can see this one and this one are detached. Okay, if you want, you can leave it like this, but I don't like to have it like this. I'll just make a new dimension. The shortcut for dimension is DI. Okay, DI, or you can pick it here from dimension. You can pick from here, also is fine, under modify, or under annotate, you can pick dimension here. Okay, so DI, pick the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. Right, so we have this. Now if you pick the dimension and you drag it, you can see the line extends, right? The witness line will extend, which I don't like. I like them to stay short, so it doesn't create these lines. So I'm going to pick the line, edit type. I'm going to change the witness line control to fixed to dimension line. Okay, I'm going to apply it. So now if I make a new dimension also, just to show you quickly, and then I drag it, it doesn't make that long line. Okay, can delete one. I'm just gonna keep one only. So here we want the first level FFL1 to be at 3000. So I'm going to select FFL1. So these two need to be at 3000. Okay, so here to here is 3000, and then here to here will be 6000, right? Yeah, it seems okay. So let me change this to 3000. Okay, always check the sample drawings as you are drawing them, so they're fine. From FFL to FFL1 is 3450. Okay, so that's correct. These two are correct. The height is this one, and this is 6450, so it's all 3000. So we leave it at this. Now let's go to our FFL. Okay, so once you have your FFL open, you can click this. It will close the extra windows, right? So now we're going to start drawing our grids, the grid lines. So the shortcut for grid lines is GR, or you can pick grid here. Okay. Let's draw our vertical grids first, right? So let's go from this one. Okay, sorry, let's do horizontal first. I'm sorry. So left to right. So 1, 2. Okay, to draw the grids, you click one time and then you move and then click the second time. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first, and then you add that 2 dash. Okay, 2 dash is between 2 and 3, so you just put it randomly at first. Okay, so 2 dash is here. Right, so let's adjust all the dimensions. Right, so from 1 to 2, and then 2 to all these things. So let's add in DI. Pick the first one, second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then click outside. Now let's start adjusting. From 1 to 2 is 4005. 4005. And then 2 to 2 dash is 1650. So pick your 2 dash, type in 1650. Now 3 to 2 dash is 2780. Okay, 2780. And then fourth one to third one is 3200. So this one is 3200. Last one is the fifth one is 2495. Okay, 2495. Right. So you have these horizontal dimensions. Horizontal grids. Now let's make the vertical grids. Again, GR for grids. We're gonna start by A. Okay, so that's A. Okay, bottom to top. So once you make the first one, I suggest renaming it straight away, right? Because if not, you'll have to rename, all of them. So once you rename the first one and then you continue making the rest, they will follow the order. So A, B, C, D, and E, right? And then if you see there's a C dash at the bottom, that's between C and D, right? So there's a C dash here between C and D. So this one is a C dash. Okay. Again, we will do the same thing. We will add the dimensions and then we will adjust them. But before we do that, let's move our grids so that they, let's adjust them, then we will move them. Okay, it's better because they will get more compact after we adjust them. So add in your dimensions first. So DI. Okay, pick all your grids. Right, and then we will select the grids. We will adjust the heads, right? So enable them, click the grid, click the on, right? Or you can just adjust them here. They will show on both sides. Okay, you can either do it manually or you can just edit type here and then enable them here. It will show on both sides, right? Okay, so once you have that, we will adjust the dimensions. Okay, so A to B is 3720. So I'm going to pick A first and then change this to 3720. We have A to B. B to C is 1750. So B to C is 1750. 1750. And then we want C to C dash, okay, is 1360. Okay, it's not listed there, but yeah, it's 1360. Okay, you have to calculate it, but I'm just gonna tell you it's 1360. And then C dash to D is 1690. So C dash to D is 1690. And then D to E is 4600. So this one, you pick it 4600. right? So I'm going to adjust this grid. So whenever you're adjusting grids, right, you just have to do this first. It's very important to do this. So you need to change them to 2D. Okay, you can see here when you select the grid, there's a 3D option. So you need to change them to 2D and then adjust them. If you don't do that, it's going to mess up your whole of the views, such as elevation, sections, and all these things, right? So here, before I change it to 2D, I'm going to drag the C all the way up, right? And then I'm going to change it to 2D. Okay, once you do that, then you click the blue dot and then you bring it back, right? So C will go until 4, so somewhere here, and then I'm going to off the head for this one. Same for 2 dash. I'm going to drag it first all the way. Then I'm going to change it to 2D. I'm going to hide the head, and then I'm going to bring it back all the way here. Okay, because it only crosses B and it stops at B. So we don't want it to go anywhere. You can just leave it here exactly at at where you need it. So it looks neater. So then I'm going to select all the grids, right? Try to center them. So select all of them and drag them maybe like this, right? So let's make them, let's do all of them to 2D. So select one by one, change them to 2D. Right, you don't want it to mess up later in case you forget. So I suggest doing it now itself. Change them to 2D. Okay, this one was 2D already. So okay, so all of them are 2D at this point. Now we can proceed to add in our next few things. Okay, so the next few things that you need to add are the column and the beam that I shared with you. Okay, so those two families, you just need to open them in Revit. So you just double click on them on your computer, wherever you downloaded them. So you just double click and open them. They will open in Revit. So once you have both of them open, so your column and your beam, okay, we want to load them in our project. So we will click load into project and close. It's going to ask you which project is it that you're working on. So yours will be your project. So name, surname, ID, assignment 2, A2, T2, T1, sorry. So you will go into your project. So once you're in your project here, we can start placing them, right? So we are at FFL. So first let's escape and, exit the tool. We will do the same for our beam, load into project and close. And this time, since we only have one project open, it's going to load directly into this one. Again, escape a few times. Go to your ground level. Right, so on your ground level, you can see they are all, quite far. So we will do the same. So only this time, only adjust the ones that, are the extra ones. So these 2 dash that you had. So if you pick this one, change to 2D, we're gonna off this, drag this to where it's supposed to be. So maybe a bit extra here. And then C dash off this, change this. And then we want it to be, oops, it's supposed to be this side, I'm sorry. So that side will be the off one, 2D. And then I'm going to drag this all the way here. Right, so it, crosses number 4. Now, remember we had mentioned when you use column, you use architectural, but for this exercise, since we, want to do it by automation, so we will let Revit do it by itself, we will do it for structural. So you can either pick structural here, or you go to structure, and you want to pick your column. Right? Here, you want to change your column type to the one that we loaded. So we have, these two. Let's pick one, okay, any one. So make sure it's the concrete column. So you pick your column, Let's change the material first. Okay, change the material. So pick any concrete material that you feel is correct. I'm just going to pick cast in place, and then change your cut pattern to this diagonal cross hatch. Okay, so you click it, pick your hatching, you're done. The rest is all none, so surface pattern is none, background none, cut pattern foreground is only the cross hatching, background is none. Then you press OK. Here we want to edit type. We want to change the size of the column, right? So I'm going to duplicate this column. I'm going to call it 150 by 150. Sorry, 150 by 450. Okay. Yeah, let's do 150 by 450. We have this column. We're going to press OK. Here we're going to change this to 150 and this one is 450. Press OK. Oops, sorry. I'm confused with the column and beam. So this both needs to be 150. Okay. So rename them to 150 by 150. So sorry about that. Okay. So 150, rename them to 150 and then, you're done. Okay. So columns here, you're going to pick a grids. We're going to select all the grids. Okay. Once you're done, you're going to click finish. It's going to give you a warning that none of these elements are visible in this view, which is fine. You close the warning. You go to your 3D view. Right. So here you can see we have our columns placed by Revit, but we have a few extra ones, right? Where, there's no actual building. So let's delete a few columns. Okay, so select all of these. Then you will click filter. From filter, you want to uncheck grids, so only structural columns. You're going to click OK, and then you're going to click delete. Right. So we have all of these deleted, the extra ones. If you look at your 3D, you should have something like this. Right. Even this column is an extra column, so we can always delete it. Right. So you have all of these as columns. Yep. And what we want to do next is we want to adjust their height. So you go to the front view here, select them. We want to change the base offset to -1000. Okay, not too much. So -1000, they're going to be something like this. Right. Next, we want to make the beams. So the beams will do the same thing. Structure, beam. Here you can see we have our beam. So let's go to ground level. Here we will edit type. Okay, 150 is correct, but we want to duplicate this. Give it a name. So this one will be maybe 450. Okay, 450 by 150. Okay, I already have one, so it's telling me there's already one. So here I can pick that one that I need, 450 by 150. You can see the dimension is correct. Press OK. Change your material. This time you can pick another concrete and make sure your cut pattern is set to the concrete pattern. Okay, my one is in French, so béton means concrete. So yeah, it's set to concrete. The rest are all none. Okay, so we pick this. Here, same thing. We're going to pick by grids. We will select all our grids and we will click finish. Once you do, it's going to give you a warning. They are not visible, which is okay. Just close it. Go back to your 3D. Press escape. And you will have this. Right. So for the beams, what I suggest doing is we will move the beam on top, of the columns. So select the first beam, right click, select all instances visible in view. Here we will add an offset to it. Okay, we can add an offset to it. We can even change the work plane. Okay, if you want, you can change the work plane. So click edit work plane, pick a plane. You want to pick your FFL. Right, so it will move to your FFL. Right. So you have something like this. Okay, except at the edges, you can see they are not, joined properly. You can always try to align them. Sometimes Revit lets you, sometimes it won't let you, right? So let's try align AL, pick the side, pick this, right? See if you do here, it moved. So you can trim it, see if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, right? So you can trim, right? So all the corners you can trim them, right? Like this one, it won't let you, right? So let's align it first. L, pick this side, pick the inner side. Okay, as you can see, this one, it's not aligned, so trim them, TR. Okay, so you align, then you trim them, right? Like this one, it won't let you, so you might have to align it first. So pick that side and this, and then you want to trim these two, TR, this and this. Okay, see, it still won't let, so you might have to drag them manually, which is sometimes a bit, tedious to do. So AL, pick this column, pick this. Okay, yeah, sometimes Revit will do this. So you just have to try and adjust them as best as you can. Okay, like this one is done. Like this one, let's try to, and perhaps join it. Okay, they don't want to join, so yeah. Okay, you just have to play around a bit. Should be fine. Okay, same for this one. We can always align it. AL, pick this and this. Okay, works fine. So let's try to trim these two. Okay, you cannot. AL, pick the side, pick this, and then try to trim this side. TR, this side. Okay, if you do, you can see here it messes up. So try to, do all these things. Right. Yeah, sometimes it's a bit messed up. So yeah, just try to drag them and align them. Okay, then you should have, like a structure that looks like this. Okay, except for this beam, right? So this beam, we can actually leave it. So yeah, because it's separated from this, and there's an actual wall here. So this beam is okay. We could leave it, right? So once you have this, you have your structure, which looks like this. Okay, I'm gonna show you, right? So now we want to move our column. So we will select one column, right click, select all instances visible in view. So all these columns, okay, except, no, we can use this one as well, it's fine. So Control C, then you want to go to paste, align to selected, we want to place them at FFL1. Okay, so you press OK. You will see they overlap, which is normal because we picked the base one. So here the base is FFL1. The base offset will be 0. The top level, okay, it's gonna give you a warning. So before you change the base offset, you change this to FFL1. Here you change this to 0. Top offset we want to minus 450. Right. So top offset we want it to go below the beam. So the beam rests on top of the column. So you'll have this. Now pick your beam, right click, select all instances visible in view. So it's gonna pick all the beams. Okay. Control C, paste, align to selected levels. We want to align it to FFL1. As you can see, they are all aligned. Right. So you have your house structure ready. Right. You can change it to shaded to see how it looks like. So you have this. Okay, for this part, that's the top part where the stair goes, on top. You want just to pick these beams. Okay, okay, sorry. So Control C, paste, align to selected. Let's go to roof. Okay. So it's using the top part as a copy. So roof is okay. So once you have it for roof, you can, change it to shaded. So you see what's happening. You have your house structure ready. Go back to your FFL1. Here you want to make your walls, right? You can make the walls, pick lines and stuff. What's gonna happen is if you do that, it's gonna go through the columns, which you don't want. They need to stop at the columns because the columns are the things that's holding the wall vertical. Okay, so you wanna pick a wall. To pick a wall, the shortcut is WA. Okay, WA, or you can go architecture and pick a wall. In here, you can see the basic wall is 200. You might have a 150 mm wall. I don't have one, so I'm just gonna use the 200. I'm gonna edit type, duplicate it, rename it to 150. Okay, if you do, you just pick that 150. Okay, but then you still edit it, right? You still edit it, and then you come to this option where you can see there's the structure, there's the width and the material and all these things. Okay, absorbance and everything we're not going to use. We're just going to look at the structure and the material. Okay, so here you pick edit. You want to change this to concrete masonry units. So here it is, concrete masonry units, or you can search for it. Right. Or if you have brickwork, you want to use brickwork, I like to use concrete masonry units. Okay. The foreground, I don't want the pattern because later on the elevation you will have these boxes like checkered pattern. I don't want it. It looks awful. So you want no pattern. Okay. No pattern. The background, none, here none, and then for the cut pattern where you're gonna cut, let's say through a section, you want it to use something called brickwork. Okay, you pick your brickwork, press OK, and then background you don't want none, and then everything else is fine. You're gonna click apply, okay. Here you want to change the thickness to 150, right? And then you can always take a look at what's happening in this. Okay, so if you make this a bit smaller, you click on preview. Here you can see your wall on section, right? You can even change it to floor plan. So on plan it will look like this. On section it will look like this. You can zoom in, scroll in, and then middle mouse you can pan and see. Here you can see we have the middle part, which is this whole thing, which is 150, right? So if I insert a new layer, let's say I give it thickness of 200, for example. Here I'm going to change, let's say, the material to concrete, right? For example, just to show you. You can see it shows you the layers that are present in this wall, right? So if I pick the middle one, this one, I click insert, it's going to insert a new one. And when I click down, it goes to the back, right? So if I click up, you can see this line becomes blue. So it's in between this and this. So down, it will go to this side. Give it a thickness again, 20. And change to a new material, right? Just any material that you have. Maybe this, because the pattern is different, right? Just to see what's happening. So you can see because this is 20 at the back. The masonry unit is the hatching that we had before, right? And the concrete is here. So you can add in like more layers to this, make it like a waterproofing, all these stuff, but we are not going to use this, so just delete this and delete the 20. So we only have the concrete masonry unit with this hatching. Once you're done, you just press OK. And then you can see here it changed to 150. Material also changed. Press OK. Now before we start drawing, make sure your base constraint is FFL, base offset is 0, top constraint is FFL1, and then top offset is minus 450. Okay, minus 450, so it goes under the beam. Here you want to start drawing the walls at the edge of the column. So one here, right? and then you press escape, you draw them one by one, don't go through the wall. Okay, if you go through the wall later when you cut your sections and we continue our assignment, it's going to be a very big problem. So you can see it goes under the wall if you put the minus 450, right? And then yeah, you can continue all the walls. I'm not gonna do it, so that's your task. I'm just gonna do a few more just to show you the next step. You have to complete all the walls, right? And don't forget, for your FFL you have to add in all your dimensions, right? All the dimensions on both sides, just like the sample. Okay, the dimensions you need, and you need the internal dimensions, right? If you look at the sample, you will see internal dimensions. Don't worry about the text or all these things yet. Just leave it at dimensions, walls, doors, windows, columns, beams, and floor. That's all you need to do for next week. Not next week, but for today's task, but you need to have it by next week, right? So you draw all your walls as you need. Right? So I'm going to draw a few more just to show you. Okay, maybe this. I'm not going to draw all of them. You have to draw all of them. So, right. So now we have our walls. You have to finish it. Same thing for the first floor. Don't worry about the stairs and stuff. That one we will cover next week. But you have to do the walls as they are. So if you can see, there's some bathroom somewhere here, right? There's some bathroom somewhere here. Then you have the staircase shaft, right, which is 1200. So here it will be 1275. Okay, for now I'm just gonna draw it randomly. Right, so you have all of this. Make sure they are connected, and then you can always adjust them. So DI, pick your dimension. Here 1002, and same for that side, DI. So pick this, change this to 1002. Right, so you have all of these walls. This one is 1395, so DI, make sure you're picking the column and the side. So this will be 1395, right? And you have that small laundry that's somewhere around here. Okay. So this wall can go all the way, right? And then you have the 1600 wall here. So WA, make your wall here, and then this is 1600. Okay, DI, pick the wall, and then change the dimension to 1600. Okay, I think there's a small mistake here, because actually the bathroom and the laundry wall, this needs to be 14. So change this to 14, right? Not 1395, because if you see from the corridor and the laundry, they're supposed to be 14. Okay, it's a 5 mm difference. It doesn't change much, but make sure they are both 14. Right, so then you have the rest of the walls that you need to complete, right? All these walls. Okay, don't mind these thick walls, like it's a feature wall, it's outside. I will show you how to make them. Okay, or you can make them by yourself, like like I showed you just now when you edit the structure, right, where you add in these layers. Remember, I just showed you how to add this. So yeah, so you just make sure that it's a stone wall, so it's cladded with stone, right? So if you want to make it by yourself, you have it here somewhere. And then yeah, so next thing that we want to do is we want to make some doors. Let's make some doors. The shortcut is DR. Okay, for door is DR, and for window is WN. Okay, so let's do doors first. Okay. if you can see, there are some doors. There's one door here. Okay, so for door you just come and click and place, right? You can change your door dimension here. So we will be using 95 by 2314. Okay, so you pick your door, place them, you can always flip them like we spoke about, at the start of this lecture. So DR, you want the door here, right? So this one, you can have the door here. You can have one door for this room here, right? You'll have your bathroom door. You have a door that goes outside. Okay, now let's talk about Windows. Okay, Windows, the shortcut is WN, like I said. So for the Windows, let me give you some dimensions about the Windows. Okay, the small windows that you can see on the garage side, there's two, right? There's two on the left side. There's one at the bathroom here, one at the bathroom here. Okay, these small windows, their height is 1005 and their width is 1000. Oh, sorry. The small windows is 520 by 800. Okay, 520 by 800. So here you have one, two, three, and then you have a fourth one here. Right. So let's make the windows first. So edit type. You want to duplicate the windows. Now we want to change the height. Okay. So the height is 520. The width is 800. The material, we want to change this to something like aluminum, maybe aluminum anodized or something. Okay, I don't have a anodized. Okay, I have anodized blue. I don't have anodized gray, so it's fine. I'm just gonna pick normal aluminum. Okay, so I can just select this, copy, and replace all the sash material. Okay, the sash is talking about the framing here, right? So you can see the thing here. You can change this to elevation, 3D view. You can even, rotate it, see how it looks in 3D, right? So I'm just gonna change this. The gloss, I'm gonna leave it at gloss. Okay. Then once I have this, I will place my windows here, okay, and here, right? So all of these windows, they are the same height. So when you look at them in elevation and all these things, they should be the same height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the first one, select all instances, visible in view. I'm going to change their sill height to 1865. Okay, sill height is 1865. Once you do that, their head height will be 2385. Okay, changes to 2385. So now if you go to 3D, you can see they are all on the same height. Okay, go back to FFL1. We want to place more windows, so WN, the shortcut. This time we want to edit type. We want to duplicate this. We want to give it a proper name. Okay, sorry I missed it earlier. So this one we will change it to 1000 by 1005. Okay, so we know is this one. Change your height. Okay, your height is 15 and the width is 1000. Okay, that's a different window. You can change the sill height here already if you want to. I'm just gonna change it to 900, right? And then we will click apply. Okay, now we can start placing these bigger windows. So there's one somewhere here, right behind this door. So place it here. You will adjust the distance, based on what's on the plan. So there's one somewhere here also. There's one in the laundry. There's one in this room, which I think is here. Right, I think that's all for these kind of windows. Don't worry if your smaller windows are not showing. I will show you how to fix them. They are still there. If you mouse over, you can see them, but I will show you how to, add them using dotted lines and stuff, because they are above the cutting line for a floor plan. So they are above 1006. That's why they don't show. Okay. So you place in all the big windows, okay, and then for the sliding doors, you can download them from a website called Revit City or Beam Objects. I will list the websites on the video, the description, so you can download windows and doors. And then for this one is a garage door. So I'm going to, list the link. You can find one on this website. You have to create a free account, and then you can search for, garage doors, sliding doors, and all these things. So yeah, and then the front door is a different door. So there's one sliding here, one sliding here, one sliding here, front door here. If you can see here, there's a curtain panel, right? If you look at the sample, it's a curtain panel. So if you make a wall, you change it to curtain panel exterior glazing. We want it to go under the beam, so it's following our normal wall. So it's 1200, the size, right? It's 1002, I think. Okay, yeah, it's 1002. So you have this, and then there's a normal wall that continues here. So you pick your, your 150 wall, and then, it continues from here to the column, and then here to here. Okay. If you don't want your beams to show under the house, here in your underlay, you can change the range base to none. Okay. So now it's going to hide the beams, and then you can see only your columns, because your columns are going up, right? So if you see your column lines are quite small, what you can do is you can right click, override graphics in view by category. Here we will change the cut lines. Cut lines we will change by pattern. We will change to solid, color change to black, and then your weight we want to change it maybe to free. Okay, so it matches the walls, and then you press OK. So now all your columns are same, line thickness as the walls. Okay, don't forget to add in all your walls and the windows. Next you can add is the floor. So you pick floor here, or you can click the architectural drop down, pick architectural. Here you can see your floor type. You can change your thickness. Okay, I already have a 150. I'm just gonna edit it just to check the material. So here you can see in the section how it looks. So edit type again. Here you can see there's no material assigned to it, and the thickness is 150. So here you just have to find a concrete. Okay, so cost in place, it's fine for me. I'm gonna use the same as the column or beams. Okay, so concrete, right? And then press OK, OK, OK. You can always pick lines to do this, right? But I like to draw it manually, so I'm just going to draw it manually, so I have more control over it. Just draw it manually. Okay, so yeah. Okay, always remember, look at the section, look at the the flow height, the offsets, and all these things. So as you're drawing, so you know what's happening, right? So finish this, go to 3D. You can see you have your flow that's inside, right? So now this flow, while you have it selected, you can Control C, paste it, align to selected. You want to align it to FFL 1. So you have your roof as well. Okay, and then you can see this is the glazing I was talking about. right? So you will have all your walls and stuff. Okay, always look at the sections. You don't have to draw anything else than this for this week. Okay, don't forget all the dimensions. So the eye, after you've placed, your windows, you'll be able to do these small dimensions, like you can see. Right, if you look at the sample, you have all of this. So don't worry about the ones that don't show yet. Like I said, I will help you fix it. Right, so you pick the edge, tab. Remember, you tab. If you cannot pick the face, you tab like we did for massing. And then you want to, find that window, which is somewhere here to here. So yeah, make sure you find your window. So here, right, and then you have this window. Pick the edge here, here. Right. So you look at the dimension. Okay, this is 2 free, so this should be 1990. So select your window, change this to 1190. You have the 1000. Okay, this needs to be 790, so this has to move. So 790, and then there's a 1000. Okay, and then the next one is at 390. So this is 390. Okay, it's completely at the corner there. Right, and then the last one is 230. Okay, so the dimensions need to be exactly the same. Don't use your own dimensions. Yeah, this, if not, it's too easy. You can just place things randomly. So make sure, you complete this and then upload your task. Okay, yeah, by tonight to do it. It shouldn't take long to do. Okay, guys, thank you.